Hi, I'm Shamel Brackett, a guard on the UNCP men's basketball team. You're watching the Black and Gold Report on WFXB.
Hi, welcome to this week's edition of the Black and Gold Report, a show all about UNCP athletics. I'm Todd Anderson, your host this week, and today we'll be joined by men's basketball coach Ben Miller, and later on in the show we'll take a day in the life of UNCP football quarterback Luke Charles. But first, we're joined by head coach Ben Miller. Welcome back to the show, Coach.
Thanks, Todd.
Last time we talked to you, you were gearing up for a 9-day, 5-game trip to California. You had 3 games at the Disney West Coast Tip-Off Classic and a couple of exhibition games to get started. So we'll start with the exhibition games. Your first one against Stanford, you gave the Cardinal, who was the reigning NNT postseason champion, you were within 6 points with a couple minutes left, and you gave them all they could handle until the very end. And then you had a much different result less than 24 hours later against San Francisco. Just sort of talk about the exhibition games and what you got from those and what you learned from those.
Well, it was a great experience, and we appreciate Stanford and San Francisco both giving us those opportunities. It was, like you said, we did some nice things against Stanford and hung in there most of the game and had chances down the stretch. We had a couple turnovers late that gave them easy buckets where it stretched back out to about 10. But guys played fairly well after flying cross country and playing an early game the day after we got out there. And then quick turnaround playing San Francisco, who's I think has an excellent team this year. In fact, I told their coach, Rex Walters, after our game, I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Stanford. I thought the way they played, their talent level, I think they're a team that's going to make some noise on the West Coast this year. So a combination of them playing really well and us not being very sharp that next game, and as a result, we kind of got our tails kicked a little bit. But I think it was a good learning experience, as were the rest of the games once we got down to Anaheim.
Now talk about, you had that short turnaround, less than 24 hours. I had spoke to you after the game and told you that Rex on his post-game show said that we looked a little worn down. Do you attribute maybe that the score not being indicative of your performance because you had such a short turnaround and because you had just got off a long flight?
Well, maybe, but I think as a coach, and you'd like to hope that your players too don't accept excuses.
Right.
Everybody's got bumps and bruises, fatigue, different things over the course of the season, and you just got to be able to play through those things, and we didn't. I think it was more a result of them playing really well than us. So you got to give them credit, and I think for us, once you get past our 3 seniors, we got a pretty young bunch. And I think our youth showed up a little bit too that next day. Now,
after the exhibition game against San Francisco on Monday night, you had a few days to take in Disneyland, make the transition down to Anaheim. We'll get into Disneyland in a little bit, but Friday morning, early morning, 9 a.m., you open up, get a big win over Northern State. You improved to 4-1 in season openers here at UNCP. Did you see what you expected to see from your team in that game, and how much of a talent drop-off was there really from the 2 exhibition games?
All those Division II teams we played in California were really good teams, really good programs. I think each of them had some guys that maybe were Division I transfers, or guys that I thought were good enough to play at maybe schools like San Francisco, maybe not Stanford level. But all 3 of those teams were really good, and I think we probably peaked Friday. Was probably of the whole week out there. That was probably our best performance, and did some nice things there. And then obviously we struggled those next 2 games.
Following that victory, you had 2 more games. Obviously, all 3 games against teams from the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference. Had a loss to Southwest Minnesota State, who won the conference tournament the year before. You actually led in that game early in the first half, and then the next day had a tough one against seventh ranked Winona State.
Yeah, Winona State ranked 7th, and Southwest Minnesota. Both those teams, I think, are top 20 level teams. And we didn't play great, but again, you got to give them a lot of credit. And the best thing about playing games like that, or playing the Stanford, San Francisco, is you see what that next level is. And for us at the Division II level, we got a good taste of what it's going to take for us to get up into that upper echelon of Division II.
A real quick, Coach, sort of compare the Peach 12 Conference and what you saw from the Northern Sun teams out there. Where's the talent level?
Very comparable. Some Division I transfers and guys that are good enough to play at that level. And so it was a great test, not only just to for our guys to see what it's going to take national level, but also in our own league, because I think the leagues are both nationally recognized and deservedly so.
All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more with head men's basketball coach Ben Miller.
I thought it was my lungs.
I was having shortness of breath.
I had a great team of doctors.
Dr. Lowry, wonderful doctor. The only one, really, who has ever had my heart in his hand.
I don't think you got any better treatment in Duke than you got him.
I felt very safe.
I mean, I feel good. Got energy.
I go to the mall and walk 2 miles.
I come out victorious.
I love Southeastern, and of course, if it has something to do with their heart, this is where you get it.